Well, we've engaged with the media almost from the beginning to try to keep pressure on the police to do the right thing, and that's been difficult. Been a marathon. We're not there yet, but it's mainly my main mission for years has been just keep pressure on the police. I'm not going away. Get this case solved, and of course we've been advocating almost from the beginning that they bring in resources that have been offered to help from the outside, and they've always refused. Starting in really the first few days, Denver offered to put two experienced homicide detectives at Boulder's disposal, and they said, we don't need them. And that was the first of many refusals of qualified help. Boulder did not even have a homicide department. And the detective working on our case was in charge of auto thefts investigations. So they just didn't have the experience. And I've never criticized them for that, but I have criticized them strongly for turning down help on the government. Governments are reactive. They don't do anything proactively. They react. 3 people are killed at this intersection. Maybe better put up a stoplight or a stop sign. They react, and they react to public pressure. And so in our case, the media is a real asset to keep that pressure on. Like, this isn't going to go away. We heard reliably that one of the members of the police department, I don't know who, told a journalist, we're just waiting for John Ramsey to die. And the implication is then the pressure will be off. It's just disgusted. I mean, but it's not out of character at all. Yeah, it's sad. Also, I'm not going to die. I'm going to be around for a good while, and John Andrew will take over for me when I'm not. He's very passionate about getting this resolved. Do more DNA testing. We have a DNA sample that was recovered in 1997, confirmed in 2006. And that's when the DA finally wrote us a letter, apologized for how he'd been treated, and cleared us as suspects. But that was 10 years ago, almost. So the DNA technology has advanced even further. And we had a letter to the governor with that petition attached, advocating more resources be brought in on our case, and then the DNA testing and genealogy. We had 30,000 people signed that petition, and we sent along with my letter to the governor, who pretty much, as far as I know, ignored it. He never responded. So we published the letter with the 30,000 signature number, and then he responded. But that was 30 days later. Regional FBI guy in Colorado, that at that time, he said the government does not have the latest technology. This testing needs to be done by an outside lab that does have the latest technology, the cutting edge technology. Government will get it eventually, but they don't have it yet. They got to get a budget, and they got to go out for bids, and it's the government. Nothing happens fast. So he said, we don't have it. There was testing done in early January of 1997. The report said that we have unidentified male DNA recovered. Does not match John, does not match Patsy, does not match Burke, where it's the only other people in the house. So that, they said we were excluded as possible matches. And that was kept secret by the police, because it was a problem, because they wanted to arrest us and prosecute based on probable cause. So they tried for a long time to explain it away. In fact, one of the authorities suggested that they go to the underwear factory in China, where JonBenet's underwear was manufactured, see if they could get a DNA match there of a white male worker. But they were that desperate to try to explain it away, because that was a huge roadblock to their objective, which was to charge one of the parents. We know there were a number of samples sent out for testing, number of crime scene items. A number, 5 or 6 or 7, were returned untested, never sampled. I'm not sure why they returned, whether because they already got a good sample or what. But we want those, if those have never been tested, and that's one of the things I asked in the governor's letter. As far as we know, these items have never been tested. They were taken from the crime scene as possible evidence. We want them tested, and we want them tested by an outside lab for DNA sampling. To my knowledge, that's never happened. Now, my worry is that they've lost that evidence. Even though we have a DNA sample that is in CODIS, the federal database, I'm told that you have to get a fresh sample to do the familial genealogy research. It's up to the chief of police in Boulder. He owns the case. Mary Lacey, the second DA that was in office, took the case away from the police. Now it was positioned as, well, we want fresh eyes to look at it, but I think she took it away from them because they were incompetent. And she brought Lou Smith back in, the legendary detective that was retired, put him to work on it. He put together a case file. There'd never been a case file put together by the police. He put that together. Had an extensive database of leads and people that need to be looked at. And eventually just got frustrated with the political agenda. He said, and he wrote a letter saying, I'm resigning and I'm not going to be part of prosecuting innocent people, because the police were still desperate to arrest us. And Lou continued to work on it until he died on his own. And he used to tell me, I'm going to catch this guy, John. I will catch him. And his track record would support that. He had solved over 200 homicides, many of them cold cases. And on his deathbed, he said, don't forget this name, John. I visited him in hospice just days before he died. He said, don't forget this name. So there was one person he was very interested in, 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 very interested